Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yep.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to... Oh, I've got the echo again. Right. Welcome, everybody. No, we've got the echo. We're having great fun. This morning. Hello.
I muted myself. Go for it.
Hello, everybody. No, that's not it.
Jeffrey, shall we just take away that second screen? Let's not worry about the video. Let's just go straight into this.
Go for it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Hello. Right, that's the work. Thank you. Right. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dreaming a New Dream. Today, it's the 30th of October, 2025. We've had a lot of fun and games behind the scenes you wouldn't believe. But anyway, we're all up and running now. So it's with great pleasure that I have Prash on the show today. So welcome, Prash, and it's lovely to see you again.
Lovely to see you, Andrena. Thank you, and thank you, Jeff, and for having us, for having me, and thank you, Australia, UK, USA, all your viewers, listeners, live or on the replay. So nice to be here. Thank you.
Great. Well, I briefly, I'd like to acknowledge Ash, first of all, as he connected me with you. So thank you, Ash. And also, when I spoke to you about coming on the show, I happened to say that I was going to Glastonbury within a couple of days, and you said the same. So we met up in St. John's Church, and you literally was coming out as I was going in. So synchronicity is best. So it's lovely to say hello to you and your beautiful partner. So today, you've got so much knowledge and wisdom and information to share, because I know you're a self-mastery leadership expert. You're a speaker, you're a retreat leader, you're a host of urban spirituality, excuse me, and you're touching lives on so many levels. So, and there's so many things I want to ask you. So let's start at the very beginning. Where were you born, and what are the steps that have led you to do all these wonderful things that you're doing now for humanity?
Thank you so much for asking. What a beautiful question. Let me take a moment to ground myself and share. Hopefully you can hear me clearly. Yeah,
I can, loud and clear. Woohoo!
I was born in Kenya, in East Africa, in the early 70s. But I'm of Indian origin, so my ancestry is Indian, and my family moved to East Africa in the early 1900s for trade, for prosperity, for a better future for their children. And I was born there, and then came to the UK in the early 1970s. So I have been here ever since. So that's where I was born. It's been an interesting journey along the years. I came in the 70s, so there was a lot of it was a different landscape to what it was now. I mean, I was an immigrant in the early 70s. There was quite a lot of racism, bullying at school, because of my skin color. I used to get called names. So I grew up in a climate where there was a certain degree of hostility. And because we were forced to leave East Africa, Uganda, when my parents were there, because of the Ugandan exodus when Idi Amin was in charge. He sort of kicked out all the Asians, and we had to leave everything behind, our businesses, our money. We came with just a handful of suitcases. So we came in poverty with hopes of a better future. And that led me into the British culture, going to school, facing all these challenges along the way, but making friends quite quickly. And over the years, I did my education with university. And like any good Indian child, I did my duty. Studied hard, didn't spend any money unnecessarily, honored my family, pulled my weight in the house with the household chores, all those kind of good things. And I really thank that training, because that's helped towards the self-mastery journey that I've been on. But yeah, I'm sure we'll dive into this, but the high level version is that I finished my education. There's a lot in there, of course, and we'll unpack it. Perhaps when you have another question, there's a lot that happened. I faced a lot of death. So I'll take your cue in it, and I'll fill in the missing gaps, Andrena.
So was that Uganda or was that Kenya? Because you said two things there. You had two countries there, didn't you?
Yeah, but essentially I'm British.
Yeah.
All intents and purposes, I'm British. I've been here most of my life. But my Indian heritage, my Indian culture is very much there. But as I say,
Gotcha.
I faced a lot of difficulty in my childhood. I'm hoping that you can hear me clearly because of previous challenges. I'm just kind of making sure we're clear here. There were a lot of challenges. I lost my mother when I was 12, and that was a difficult time. She died working really, really hard to help make a better life for the family. And she had a manual job, and she died very young. She was only 43 and I was 12. My father was a very good man, but unfortunately alcohol got the better of him. And so my father was a functional alcoholic. And I found myself, without a mother, a younger brother, just my father. My father used to gamble the money as well. So I remember at college getting 2 jobs. Then by university time, I had 3 jobs and my university. I was also cooking, cleaning, doing all the household chores. And it was not an easy life. And then somewhere along the way, I found the courage to discover more. And that led me to an encounter with some monks. And that opened up my spiritual journey when I was about 16, when I started to question why I lost my mother. Why did I have a father who was alcoholic? Why was I in poverty? Why was life shit? Pardon my language, folks. But it was terrible. Why was all this happening? And along that way, there was other things that happened as well. I faced physical and mental abuse, bullying. So there was a lot going on. And so I really lost my faith in humanity for a while. But I rediscovered it through, I guess, the mercy of some monks that I happened to meet when I was 16, who are of the ancient Indian faith. And they kind of took me in as a student, and therefore they became my mentors in life. They became the big brothers that I didn't have, the father that I would have liked to have had but didn't quite have. And they made themselves available to craft my life, to mold it in a way that would be more valuable to myself and to others. And so that's how the self-mastery journey started when I was 16. And along the way, I did coaching. Some of you may have heard of Tony Robbins. So I ended up doing some coaching and then eventually crewing with some of Tony Robbins' work, Anthony Robbins here in the UK. And alongside that, I started my corporate career after graduation and I have been in that world for 25 years in financial services and technology. So there's 25 years of corporate work alongside the spiritual and coaching journey that I've been on. And obviously we can unpack that more a little bit and how it ties to self-mastery. Back to you.
Yeah. So what a great start, because I'm, like you're putting out about not having your dad as a dad and your mum not being there and why. And then you've got all these beautiful monks that have given you the most amazing start to your journey, which has certainly brought you to where you are now on so many levels. I know I did see, excuse me, I saw somewhere that you did a 4.5-hour meditation the other day. And so I'd like to sort of bring that in, because I know also you're like stress to success. And with all what's going on in the planet now and all the changes that are happening, you know, the stress is outside of ourselves. And if we're in our quiet space, we haven't got all of that drama going on. So I thought it'd be nice for you to share more about your meditation space and how it's serving you and how you're able to help more and more people to be in that same quiet space, that inner light, inner guidance, whatever you would like to call it.
What I would like to offer is that I regularly come across many people who say they can't meditate or they don't have the time to meditate. When they try, they just get distracted. And what I say to everyone is we all have the ability to meditate, but it may not be in the same way. When we get transfixed in watching a film or a movie that's really just blowing us away and we're so immersed in that film, the characters, the plot line, so on and so forth. In a sense, we've switched off from the external reality. We are immersed in that film. That is, in a way, a sort of meditation. When we're driving on the road and we're alone in the car and are on the freeway on a long journey, and all we see is the scenery around us on either side, we start to step into a meditation-like state. So, as humans, we have the ability to switch off and sharpen our focus into something that is conducive to us. We all have that. And I think any kind of meditative practice and success starts with that understanding that it's possible for us, but it just may not be the way that other people say. And that's why I call the brand that I run urban spirituality, that it's spiritual, but it's not just woo-woo or fluff. It has to be practical. It has to be applicable, assimilable within our lives. And for me, I found meditation to be one of the biggest allies in my life. And obviously, I work with clients as a professional coach and self-mastery mentor. I'm working with people who sometimes have addiction, and stress, of course, is one of the big things that causes addiction or or unhealthy habits. And so meditation becomes a wonderful antidote, even if and people think it needs to be a long thing. And again, it doesn't. It could be as little as 5 minutes, several times in the day. In fact, I have a little acronym called JAM, J-A-M, just a minute. So you could spend just a minute switching off from your screens, whichever screen it is, your computer or your smartphone, and just look outside somewhere away, or look at a picture of a loved one, or a painting of something beautiful. In other words, we shift our focus from the distractions or the things that are overwhelming us or preoccupying us in something that is more beneficial. And even for a minute, if we can do that and then cultivate that several times in the day, we start to make inroads into that part of the brain that relaxes and allows that inner landscape, the inner atmosphere, the environment, the inner environment becomes more conducive for meditation. And once we start with JAM, just a minute, several times in the day, we can start to build up. And from that, we can start to deepen and lengthen what we do. And through that process, the nervous system starts to get nurtured. The nervous system is taxed. Many people out there may have heard of chronic fatigue or adrenal fatigue. And there are various versions of that because people get stressed out. We have burnout. I've been a victim of burnout twice in my corporate career over 25 years. I had 2 major health scares because I got burnt out working too hard. So meditation allows the nervous system to be calmed. And when the nervous system is calmed and nurtured, it starts to allow the glands and the organs that are taxed to relax. And that allows the mind to relax. And now we have a symbiotic circle of relaxation and calming, relaxation and calming. That has a powerful cellular level effect and a mental and emotional effect, because it drives certain chemicals that allow us to feel happy. So the right chemicals happen in the brain and the right reactions in the body happen, and that creates a state of relaxation that's deep. And the more we practice it, the more we get that, and the less we are troubled by our external environment. Not that those troubles disappear, right, Jeff, Andrena? We all have troubles, we all have challenges, folks.
It's
But
life.
it's that if it's life, but it's the effect and the way we start to respond rather than react. I'll say that again. We move from reaction to response. When we move to response, we start to be able to have a better control over the outcome of what happens. And even though we can't control everything, we're able to handle it better. So we build our mental toughness and we build our emotional resilience. And those are just some of the benefits that come through cultivation of practices like meditation, like breath work, like chanting, or like sacred medicines and herbs that I work with and so forth. I hope that gives you a little insight.
Yeah, because I know for myself, like I do 9D breath work, which is really powerful. So I love that. I go out and about in nature a lot, and I've got a forest just across over there, which you can't see. And for me, it's like open-eyed meditation, because you're just feasting your eyes on so much of nature. There's just so much beauty to look around and share. So my question to you is, you did a 4.5 hour. How did you manage? Were you so deep in that space that you were able to stay there for that length of time? Because I've never done anything as long as that, I have to confess. So I was interested to find out a little bit more.
Yeah, that was a very deep meditation. I think it's a combination of things that allow that to happen. I, funnily enough, also did some breath work, and I'm familiar with 9D breath work. So I did some deep breath work, and I work with certain Ayurvedic and organic compounds that allow me to amplify the deepening effect. And using those particular proprietary herbs and compounds coupled with breath work, and obviously having experience in those states of meditation for many years now, and I've been practicing meditation since 1988, which is when I started, when I met the monks in 1988. So it's been a long practice. So it allows us to be able to go into a deeper state when we combine those different things and then just drift. And using the right kind of music and soundtrack allows us to deepen. And I use mantras. It's something that's very powerful. Mantras are sound vibrations of an ancient nature. They don't belong to Hindus only, as people mistakenly think. Mantra means, the word mantra means to free the mind. It is a combination of powerful words that are from time immemorial, from ancient times, in many faiths and many traditions. But when uttered or chanted and repeated with certain intention, intonation, and attitude, they start to yield positive results on calming the mind. So when we combine these things, we are able to sometimes delve into very deep states of meditation, which is what happened on Monday. And it was a profound journey with realizations and many different things that come.
Because I know, excuse me, I know again for myself, I love going chanting, I love doing mantras and kirtan, and that just takes you in such a beautiful space, and you've got a lovely community. You're all together working on the same sounds, the same vibrations, and you're sending that out into the world. So there are, like you said, it's not only just meditations, there's different forms of meditations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is part of it. When we talk about self-mastery, we're really talking about the battle that most of us do not choose to fight. Most of us are fighting battles or tackling challenges in our external world. Whether that be with our family, our friends, our relationships, our work, our careers, there's always some sort of challenge or battle that we're fighting. Many of us are fighting battles with our own health. But ultimately, the territory that we all need to conquer is the inside, the mind. In the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of the oldest scriptures known to mankind. It's over 5,500 years old. Andrena, I imagine you've heard of the Bhagavad Gita. Jeff, maybe you have as well. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, who is the speaker of the Bhagavad Gita, who represents divinity, says, for one who has learnt to conquer the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has not learnt to conquer the mind, it can be the deadliest of enemies. And therefore, for me, in 35 years in the spiritual path and the personal growth and coaching and personal development worlds over these 35 years, I have found that self-mastery is the most valuable thing to cultivate for inner happiness, because self-mastery allows us to learn to control our mind better. It allows us to control our emotions better, and therefore the way we respond to situations and people and things. It allows us to refine the quality of our decision making, so we make better decisions for ourselves and for our loved ones. And it allows us to show up more authentically in the world that we live in. And therefore, really and ultimately, the best investment that we can make in our lives is in ourselves, in our self-mastery, because we are the source of our business, our relationships, our finances. Everything rests on us. And that's why I'm so passionate about self-mastery, of which meditation, chanting, many other aspects come into play.
Because it is master of self, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. And you spent 13 years in India.
I spent many years going back and forth to India. And I spent time in monasteries, I would say temples, monasteries in India, spending time there. Also other countries, and experiencing what it's like to be in a church for a week. Recently, I went to Tuscany in Florence, and I spent a few days at previously at the monastery of St. Francis of Assisi when I went a previous time. I went there back again recently. So spending time at holy places of pilgrimage of different faiths has allowed me an insight into how people approach the journey of evolution, personal evolution, spiritual evolution, part of which, of course, is self-mastery. And ultimately, it is self-mastery that we look at. I think people get too caught up in labels. They feel that there is one of the biggest diseases that we have, in my humble opinion, if I may share with you both and with the audience. It's the disease of personal misidentification. I will say that again. It's the disease of personal misidentification. We over-identify with our nationality, our religion, our faith, our culture, our societal conditioning, our gender, and so forth. And yet, we are none of those things. Everything that we identify is pertaining to this body, this vessel that we have. But we are beyond that. Quantum physics refers to this as quantum infinite energy. Religions call it the soul. In Sanskrit, it's called the Atma. We are that quantum spark of goodness that exists within this vessel. And we manifest that as this vessel. So when we wrongly identify with this external body and everything that comes with it, and everyone who is attached to it, then we start to lose our very essence. It's like having a bird inside a cage and spending all our effort and time polishing the cage to make it look nice, and we forget to feed the bird inside, and then the bird dies. We are that bird. We are the soul. We are the spirit. The spirit does not care for any particular race, really. It's beyond all those things: race, religion, culture, color of skin. It's beyond. The soul is pure, quantum, infinite, expansive, blissful energy. And if we, as a society and as individuals, can spend time, moments spending time in quietness, in meditation, in self-reflection, we start to reconnect with our essence, our true nature. And the more we do that, the more we start to transcend the misidentifications with the body, which lead us to so many mental and physical illnesses. And we start to reclaim our sovereign power And I think sovereignty is something that surely the world wants in a day and age where governments and countries are trying to overly scrutinize their people and introduce national IDs, like in the UK right now. People's civil liberties and freedoms are at threat. We are living in a world where tyranny is rife and AI has become overly utilized. Surely sovereignty of the spirit, sovereignty of our emotions, sovereignty of the way we show up in front of the people that we love and we care about authentically. Surely sovereignty and personal mastery, self-mastery should be more important in our day-to-day lives.
Totally. Are you finding now more and more people are becoming aware? Sorry, excuse me, I've got a tickle going on this morning. Because we are in the greatest time of history. We don't know how it's all going to move forward, but it's like we're all still in the holding bay with all these changes that are happening. Some people are becoming more aware or more awake to themselves and realizing there's things going on maybe that are not in alignment, or they haven't been told truths, or they're just sensing different things. Are you finding that is growing more and more? Because I know when I speak to people, there's definitely more of awareness happening than ever before.
I think very much so. I would absolutely concur. I think when we cast our mind back to what happened 5 years ago worldwide, the pandemic, I think it, knowingly or unknowingly, it forced a lot of people to rethink their lives, rethink what's important in their lives, and reconsider. Some would consider that it was a mass experiment on compliance. Will the citizens of the world comply to the mandates and the dictates placed upon them by a supposedly benevolent and well-meaning government? That's a whole other conversation. And that speaks to autonomy, but it comes back to autonomy, self-mastery, sovereignty, and critical thinking, which the world seemed to lack because many people just followed the science. But actually, it also awoke many people. I 100% agree with what you're saying. Many people started to question, well, why do I need to go into the office every day? I'm happy with my children here, just doing this, or being in nature in the lockdown where you couldn't go very far. People have rediscovered the importance of simplicity. I think people have recognized that there is more than the material goals of life that we have as a society and a civilization. In all the Western countries, at least, we've been programmed to chase material success, wealth, finances, possessions, acquisitions, status as the things that make us happy, and that these are the things that are the symbols of success. Whereas in the East, many people have always sought inner fulfillment and happiness, which is why we all know, probably all of us know somebody who's really wealthy but unhappy. And we probably know somebody who's not very wealthy at all, but they're really just quite content. Isn't that a paradox that is worth investigating and seeing how we can start to bring that into our own lives?
Definitely. And the thing is, we're not taught in schools at a young age about our inner being and all of the things about energy, chakras, balancing, feelings, like we've all been closed down at a young age. But there are certain schools now, and there's different teachers that are starting to do little meditations when they come in. And because I think that would be a great start for everybody or every school, because you've got children coming in from all walks of life. Nobody knows what they come from and what their life's about. And yet if you bring them all together and get them in that quieter space and start the day, to me, what a difference we could make. Well, if everybody just did that.
What you say, so much truth in what you say, and it requires all of us to play their part. I think, again, this goes back to, I think, a really important question, and perhaps all of you who are listening or watching this live or on the replay, maybe this is a point to reflect on. We all like to feel valued. We all want to feel valued by our friends, by our lovers, by our loved ones, by our colleagues, so on and so forth. But to feel valued, there is also the natural question that goes with it, which is, how can we be of value? How can we give value? And it starts with valuing ourselves. In my opinion, it starts with valuing ourselves. When we value who we are, how we show up in the lives of the people that we care about, how we treat our body. And here's a big one. This is talking about self-mastery here, if that's okay. Here's a simple one. Many of us are aware of the importance of diet and nutrition, what we eat. But most of us forget that our diet is not just what we consume through our mouth, it's what we consume through our eyes and ears. What are we consuming when we're looking at social media endlessly, or hearing things that are disempowering, or watching movies that are actually sending really negative subliminal messages to our mind? In other words, if we take the opportunity to value ourselves more with what we consume, with how we look after our bodies, with the TLC that we give to ourselves, which we so often rush to get from other people and other things. So many of us end up inadvertently chasing happiness and peace and contentment in objects and devices and others, when in actuality, the best place to find it is within ourselves. It just requires a little bit of patience, exploration, and a bit of training and guidance, but it's absolutely doable. I've worked with thousands of people over the past 15 years professionally doing this. Here, funnily enough, quite a few in Sydney, Jeff, the US, Europe. I work with people. I have a team and we work with people. We see the change when people start to value themselves, start to take their own mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health more seriously, because most people focus on the physical health and forget the mental, emotion, and spiritual part. And self-mastery is all those things, along with financial health, right? So all of these things come as self-mastery. So when they start to focus on those things and turn the spotlight inwards, they don't need to rely on so many things outside. They find happiness, they find peace and contentment, and something magical happens. They start to lose the dependency on external objects and peoples and things for satisfaction and validation. And that starts to create the momentum of personal sovereignty. And when we are starting to step into our personal sovereignty, the things and the situations and the people of this world start to affect us less. And we build mental and spiritual resilience. And surely that's the best gift that we can give to the people that we care about, to be that person that they can rely on, that we can rely on ourselves, and that when we are gone from this world, when God calls us or the universe takes us back, that we have left something behind that has lodged itself beautifully in the hearts of the people that we care about.
And I always say, when we get promoted, because my sister and I ran a funeral business about 20 years ago, and we helped before, during, after death, and talking to people that were dying, we always say, you're going to be promoted, and when God calls you, you can't say, can I have another week? I need to finish that, or I need to see that person. You know, when God calls, that's it, you're gone. So you're promoted. So I think, you know, when people talk about, oh, so and so's died, and I think, oh God, for me that's like a well, sort of negative, but it's true. But if you say to people, but they've been promoted, they've done what they've done here, they're going into the higher realms or wherever you think they might go on to be doing something where they're needed up there. They finished down here complete. So that's my little take on it anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said. And I mean, if you like, since we're talking about self-mastery, I would love to share with you perhaps the key pillars that I feel would perhaps be of value to listeners of self-mastery, if that's okay with your permission, both.
Yeah, wonderful.
So I'd say that we can look at this as 6 pillars. First, we have the body. Self-mastery on the body. Some people call it PQ, physical quotient. You know, we have IQ, our intellectual quotient. So then we have EQ, our emotional quotient. And then we have PQ, our physical quotient. And then some people will call it SQ, our spiritual quotient. So these are the different EQs, the IQ, EQ, SQ, PQ that we have in our life. If we look at the physical quotient first, the body, self-mastery, when we look at the pillar in self-mastery of the body, it's about making sure that the body is receiving the nurturing that it needs. Exercise, diet, nutrition, sleep, all the things that we're all very much aware of the importance of, especially those of us who are perhaps, creeping over the age of 30. Some of us may be here in the room, just maybe.
We'll pass.
It becomes even more important to honor the body. So really the first pillar of self-mastery is listen to the body, honor its needs, but also know when to school the body. The body may want sugar. The body may want unrestricted sexual immersion. The body may want to immerse itself in excesses of any kind. It is about learning to be able to honor the body's needs, but balancing it when it tries to go in excess. Giving the body the care and the attention that it needs is one fundamental part of self-mastery. Then we look into the mind, training the mind. We don't often talk about training the mind, right? I mean, we go through an educational system where we're taught a bunch of stuff, and then we go into higher education and we're trained to become doctors, lawyers, pharmacists, IT people, whatever it is that we've been trained. But where are we training the mind in the context of self-mastery? That's not taught. We have to go to coaches. Some of us may go to motivational speakers like Tony Robbins or whoever we go to get that. But it's so crucial as part of self-mastery to train the mind. How could we do that? It could be through disciplined work. It could be through reading books that help to expand and deepen the understanding of the mind. It could be through practices that allow us to develop the quality and power of the mind, like breath work, as you alluded to, like meditation. It helps to still the mind. So the second focus in self-mastery is the mind, learning to train the mind through more meaningful consumption through the eyes and the ears, and through practices like meditation and breath work. Then we come to the third pillar, emotions. We all have emotions. Many of us trip ourselves up because we get caught up in the emotion. I have a tip. This is the tip. Has anybody, have any of you experienced what it's like to look up on a sunny day and see a few clouds and watch the clouds move across the sky? I think we've all had that experience. Now, the clouds don't stay in one place. They're moving across the sky. Imagine those clouds to be emotions. The emotions are just going to be like clouds in the sky. They come for a little while, and then they pass. Our problem is that we get fixated on the emotion, and then the emotion takes us over. But if we can create the gap and understand that we are not the emotion, we are not our mind, we are not our body. We are simply observers watching this scene of the clouds crossing the sky. That is to say, recognize if you're angry. I'm feeling angry. There is a feeling of anger that has come upon me. Get curious. I wonder why I'm really angry. I mean, I think I know why I'm angry, but I wonder why I'm really angry. Is there a deeper cause? The moment we start to get curious, the moment that emotion, the negative emotion, starts to lose its grip on us, and we're able to start to better dissolve and resolve it and let it pass like clouds in the sky. So emotional management, EQ, emotional intelligence, this practice of starting to observe our emotions and know which ones to embrace more of. Because I'm going to say this, I'm probably going to be a bit controversial. Jeff, don't mind me if I say this. And I don't mean it at you or me. But I think men often shy away from beautiful emotions like love and tenderness and intimacy. A lot of men don't want to go down there. Maybe because we've been programmed to think that we can't do that. We've been programmed to think that we can't cry when we watch a movie and we see something that moves us. And so we stifle emotions. So emotional mastery as part of self-mastery is the ability to be able to discern when we need to detach and allow emotions to pass by, or when we need to delve in and let a certain emotion occupy us for a while, like happiness, like love, like joy, like bliss, gratitude, so forth. So this is the third pillar. The fourth pillar. It's a practical pillar. It's financial mastery. Now, financial mastery goes very well with mind and emotion mastery, because anybody who's traded in stock markets will tell you that you need to be really careful and in control of your emotions. Otherwise you'll lose all your money. It will go. Same thing with gambling, right? If somebody's a really good gambler or into poker or professional gambling, they'll say you need to be really good with controlling your emotions. So emotional and mental mastery, the two things that we've been talking about, help us to cultivate financial mastery. And so financial mastery as part of self-mastery is the ability to be able to learn and evaluate those decisions about our finances that can help us to be more stable, either to bring more money in or to create a stable base that we need. And typically it's things like understanding a little bit about different areas of investment. And many people are programmed to rely on their single income, either on their job or on their business. And they often think that's the only source of income, but it's not. Obviously, property, stock markets, portfolios, crypto, precious metals, which I think are more valuable now than they've ever been, especially with the diminishing value of all fiat currencies like pounds and dollars. They're dwindling. The pound and the dollar is worth a fraction of what it was many, many years ago. Gold and silver hasn't lost its value. So it's about spending a little time discovering different ways to develop financial resilience, saving our money, using our mental and emotional mastery to be able to not impulse buy all the time, holding back, not overspending. And in this way, we start to build savings and build financial diversity. So this is the fourth pillar, financial mastery. And then we come to the fifth pillar, spiritual mastery. Many of you are familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's a very famous model in the world of psychology, personal development, and it explains how when we as a society and individuals, when we have taken care of our basic needs of eating, sleeping, sexual fulfillment, so on and so forth, then we start to rise in our desires to find more nobler, finer fulfillments, gradually raising into philanthropy, the desire to care for others, the desire to contribute in the world in some better way. And that leads us into this fifth pillar, spiritual mastery. Mastery of gratitude, mastery of connecting with something and some force beyond ourselves, the ability to develop connections with other humans in a way that transcends physical description, to connect with our source, as you said, Andrena, earlier, whether we call it God, the universe, you put a name on it, Krishna, Yahweh, Allah, Jehovah, pick a name. And if you don't like names and if you're not religious, then just call it source. But it is to connect with that power that is greater than ourselves and find fulfillment and happiness and peace and joy and contentment in that space, even if it's for 5 minutes, because from that space is a seed, like the seed of an oak tree. When cultivated and nurtured, it starts to grow and give us more and more fulfillment. And therefore, spiritual mastery is about fulfillment, self-fulfillment, satisfaction, self-contentment, connectedness with something greater than ourselves, and stepping into states of joy and bliss that defy the description of any human mouth, because you don't have to describe it, you just feel it, you just know it. And those, therefore, are the 5 pillars of self-mastery that we can all, regardless of our age or color or nationality or faith, all of us can embrace the value of some of these 5 pillars for ourselves. And then just by embodying them, many of us who have children or family members who we would love to see change and improve themselves, they'll naturally change and improve just by virtue of observing us and seeing the difference in our lives. As we show up differently, they will naturally be subtly affected in the right kind of ways. God, I'm so passionate about this. I'll just shut up for a second.
Oh no, I love your passion and your enthusiasm, and you're true in every word what you say. It all comes back to self. And the more you're at peace with yourself, then wherever you are, you're reflecting that peace outwards. You don't have to go around saying I'm peaceful and I do that and I do this. You just be who you are, and it just happens. Which it's like giving people, they sense or they feel that vibration from you, and it gives them the opportunity to take on board or feel it or be aware more. I was going to say something else about this. I forgot what I was going to say now. But I was going to ask you about your life-changing ceremonies. Would you like to share a little bit about that?
Gladly. We work in what we do, and we run them in the UK, but we now are starting to run them internationally as well. So, Jeff, any excuse to come out your way, it's going to be awesome. These are powerful containers that go beyond conventional healing, coaching, conventional therapy. Not that there's anything wrong with anything that anyone is doing. These things are different. They are an extremely powerful and revolutionary way to be able to accelerate our human evolution. And we do things in that one day that people may not have done within 10 years. We accelerate our human potential within one day, more than even 10 years. And how that happens is through a combination of specific and proprietary protocols and techniques and elixirs that allow us to cross the conscious mind and open the access to the subconscious mind, where many of us know, I think most people have heard the saying that we only use 10% of our brain power, 5%. Well, imagine if you had a day where through a combination of all these techniques, methods, and elixirs that we serve and we drink, these are all natural plant-based things, we are able, with the combination of those things, to start to unlock access to our 90% subconscious mind, and through the techniques, connect to a superconscious state. Imagine what is possible when we do that. We go beyond anything that we've experienced in the conscious level of our existence, and we start to tap into powers and abilities that exist that Einstein, Thoreau, Emerson, Voltaire, Nikola Tesla, very famously, so many great scientists and thinkers have talked about that space, the infinite intelligence, the quantum, the beyond. We are able to start to tap into that and glean insights, gain downloads, and bring them in, encode them into our being in a time and a space in that one day where they start to reprogram ourselves at a deep level. So our nervous system and our, you can say, spiritual DNA, our quantum DNA starts to receive an upgrade. And then we start to make shifts, and it's what we run. I'm thrilled that we've been running them over the past few years. We've had several thousand people attend them, and people from all walks of life, from housewives to politicians, celebrities. We've got one of the world's best Luther Vandross tribute acts. He just reached out saying, "Hey, I heard about your ceremony. Can I come in? I'm in New York." People fly in from all over just for this one day because it changes so much. So I'd love to invite anyone, if you feel the call, come visit London or arrange a group of 10 people and we'll fly out for you, and it will be life-changing in one day.
Whereabouts in London is your urban spirituality held?
So we hold them throughout London. We have various places, including the countryside outside of London, Greater London, which is very beautiful. And we hold them typically once a month in very, very sacred spaces. And we also run them in Europe. So we're waiting for the invitation for Australia and the US. US is happening early next year, actually. So yeah, these are transformative. I think some of you out there may have heard of people like Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins. Some of you may have heard of Sadhguru, who's an Indian mystic teacher. We've had people who've been to their events, which are typically 4, 5 to 7 day events. Date with Destiny by Tony Robbins, for example, the work Dr. Joe does in in the States and in Mexico. People who've been to those have said that what they've gotten from these one-day ceremonies is beyond what they've experienced in those places. Obviously at a fraction of time and cost as well, because they're very cost effective as well. So it's truly something game-changing that we invite anyone of any level, whether you're an executive, a CEO, a business owner, or somebody who's in the space of wellness, like obviously yourself, Andrena, who in the wellness space, in the profession of helping others as professionals. Come and see your abilities amplified and new abilities opened up and unlocked within that 90% that you would have never have done. And we do it in a day.
Fantastic. I know you've got some dates coming up.
Hey, there's a movie there called Lucy with Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
That's
people who said, yeah. I mean, people have said that.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line is that they had to take the blue powder, but that's a classic case of someone's actually given it some thought to actually put it on the screen to awake people's awareness, isn't it?
They did that with the Matrix as well, didn't they, Jeff? You know, you had the red pill, and the red pill just opens you up to a whole new reality. There was that film Limitless with Bradley Cooper and Robert De Niro. He takes a pill and it becomes, but we don't want, our approach is natural, non-addictive, natural, and very sacred. And it's a place, the ceremonies in a nutshell, I guess, if I were to describe them or how others have described, it's a place where quantum physics meets neuroscience, meets ancient shamanic spiritual traditions. And it's the synthesis of those things that allows acceleration of 10 years worth of evolution. Sure. Problems solved so much in one day, as you say.
I mean, we've had those really interesting products like Alpha Dynamics that came out of Finland, and the Silver method. The Silver method is very powerful, yeah. And going within, it's almost like your mind goes through and opens the door, isn't it? So when you get that, the access is actually granted by your own internal watcher who's traveling through your own DNA to awaken it. The internal watch is waiting, and you absolutely unlock and open things that, quantum physics is obviously, leading this charge in the scientific establishment. But, this has been known for many years. I mean, Nikola Tesla, the famous scientist Tesla, he famously said, if you want to know the secrets of the universe, think of three things: energy, frequency, and vibration. Einstein said that imagination is the greatest power. Yeah, I believe so. Many of the scientists knew this. They had tapped into states and regions beyond the three-dimensional world, but we are dumbed down. We are flooded with temptations and movies to watch and social media feeds to read. So we dilute our power of choice and decision-making by all the distractions and temptations that are given to us on a daily basis, which is why self-mastery is needed now more than ever. When we start to reclaim those 5 pillars that I described, we start to take back control of our destiny. And even though we may not know what life throws at us, as you said, Andrena, at the beginning, we may not know what's coming. We are better equipped to be able to manage and navigate that journey because we are more evolved. Surely that's the best gift we can give to the world around us, to be the most evolved versions of ourselves.
100%. I did want to ask you briefly about, I know you were in Trafalgar Square on the stage doing sacred mantras. Yeah. Do you want to share a tiny bit about that?
You got me smiling. I never thought that I'll be on Trafalgar Square, right? One of the most iconic destinations in England to visit. And somehow or other, somebody somewhere must have heard about, the other stuff that I do. I sing and I speak, and I combine singing, speaking, and mantras and chanting, and it's my passion. Somebody must have heard and said, let's give this talkative little Indian vegan 50-year-old something boy a chance to do something useful.
I love it.
So next thing I know, I'm on Nelson's column at Trafalgar Square, speaking about the wisdom and the essence of Diwali. It's traditionally a Hindu festival, but its roots date back far before Hinduism was around in India. It's very ancient, and the wisdom from Diwali is as valuable now as it is millions of years ago. So I spoke about the wisdom of Diwali, and I chanted some mantras and sung some mantras. I think there were about 4,000 people in the crowd, and somehow or other, I didn't shit bricks. I managed it. It was really wonderful, actually. It was great.
Look at the vibe that you would have been sending out, and all those people in the middle of Trafalgar Square, in one of the busiest places in London.
It's absolutely true. And I want to share this. I'm really passionate about sharing this. I don't know how many people are catching this right now, or maybe they'll catch it if they're not already too bored when they catch this on the replay. I'm going to share this.
Stop it.
We have to learn to trust ourselves and the spirit, Holy Spirit, Shakti, God force, higher force, whatever you want to call it, to trust it more and then get out of the way. Because I've not spoken or sung in front of 4,000 people before. That's the biggest crowd.
Really?
I didn't prepare. I didn't write a script like the other rehearsals, the other acts rehearsed for weeks. I didn't write a script. I didn't practice the singing. All I did was sit in a meditative state an hour beforehand and connect with spirit, connect with the divine, and ask to be a vessel and to let what needs to come out, come out. And I think the wisdom I got from that is when we step into a space of quietness, gratitude, and self-reflective meditation and call upon a higher power to really come and allow us to be a vessel, an instrument for what needs to come through. Magic happens when we get out of the way. In other words, our ego, our fear, our nerves, all those things start to calm down when we trust that something greater and more powerful is going to come. And when we come with the intention that we are not here, I didn't come with the intention to do a performance and sing technically better, because there's a lot of people who sing better than me, professional singers. But I didn't care. I came because I felt that there's something that I can do and give that might move somebody in that audience and help them in some way. And I think I speak for everybody, yourself, Jeff, Andrena. This podcast exists because you want these messages, these guests, to have a powerful, positive effect on your audiences. We do this for that. And when we come in with that beautiful intention, that how can we be of service with what we do, what we offer, whatever it is that we are good at individually, then I think magic happens. And I think that's what happened that day.
Hey, yeah, two things that you brought to mind when you're talking about it. The principle of stepping aside and allowing the higher force. When you said that, I thought, oh, that's the meaning of when Jesus said, it's not me that does the works, it's the Father within me that does it. Yeah?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You've tapped into that that religious line of thought just by saying what you just said. That's number one. Number two is a bit of humor there for Trafalgar Square. Of course, I've been into Trafalgar Square, and the question here is probably its prime focus is for VE Day in World War II, and when England won the World Cup. So for you to actually stand in that arena and be part of that whole spiritual focus, that's quite a testament. I mean, the last time I was in Trafalgar Square was when the bombings in 2007. So,
it was such an honor. It was such an honor, and I was singing mantras of peace. We're talking about it, VE Day. I was singing mantras of peace. And the message of Diwali was that of peace. Diwali, I used an acronym to explain what Diwali was, and I sang mantras that are of peace. If you like, I would sing a mantra now.
Go on then. Off you go. Thank you.
So whoever you are, wherever you are, if you're hearing this right now, on the replay or live, I invite you to just take a moment to close your eyes, allow your hand or hands to move towards your heart space or anywhere on your body where you feel your hands would like to go. Just for a moment, just to deepen your connection with your heart. Soften your breathing, deepen. Allow your breath to have its way. Just for a moment, be aware of your breathing. Give loving attention to the beautiful breath that you have, which is the very source of everything that you have and do, your breath. Give thanks to it. Step into that space, that heart space of gratitude. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhana Mrityurmukshiyormamrita. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 I am bold, I am strong, I am love. I am peace, I am whole, and I am worthy. I am bold, I am peace, I am strong. I am joy, I am bliss, I am whole. Let the breath guide you. Listen quietly for the whispers of your soul as it tries to speak to you and remind you of a time long gone by when you loved yourself for who you are, when you accepted yourself, when you were happy just being you, when you knew that you were enough, that you were enough, and that you are enough. Without any name, without any title, without any role, without any acquisition or material possession, you are enough as you are, whole and complete, beautiful, untarnished, immeasurably powerful, blissful in your nature, boundless in your joy, waiting to be rediscovered. That fullness that you are is just waiting for you to step inside and discover it through whichever method or means you choose. Let it be a journey back to hearing the whispers of your soul, and let your soul lead the way in all that you do and all that you are. Om Shanti. Amen.
Om Shanti.
Shalom. Aho.
Oh.
And peace.
Aho. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was really beautiful. I could just feel as soon as you started, the shivers going down my spine. So, yeah, and that's a perfect place to end today's podcast.
Indeed.
So, thank you so much. It's been an absolute delight and honor to listen to you and to see you again and for your sharing. So, thank you once again. And thank you, Jeffrey. And anybody, do you want to say any last words?
Me? Hey, I'm going to be a smart ass here, Prash. Do you actually watch Star Trek Strange New Worlds? Hey?
Yeah, I've watched a few episodes, yes.
Have you gone and used the same barber as bloody Anson Mount, have you? Hey, you know what I'm talking about, eh? His hairstyles is
Yeah.
amazing. You've
Oh
mirrored that.
man,
Eh?
dude, it's my dad. He got white hair young, and it was thick. I've given up on the hair dye, dude. It's just, whatever it is at 54, I've accepted it. I told you, part of physical self-mastery is looking after the body, the vessel. We have been given a vessel. This is a vessel, a temple of the Holy Spirit. So, spending 5 minutes a week tidying up the beard a little bit, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking of you and Ensign Mount.
Oh, man.
I don't know if Andrena's seen that TV series of Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It's very humorous at times. But Captain Pike, or Ensign Mount.
Yes, Captain Pike, yeah.
And
I'll take that one. I'm gonna take that one.
Prash got his hairstyle. That's very good. Hey, awesome. And I really appreciate what you just did then, because you can feel the empowerment coming through. I mean, we've had so many different guests come through, and yours comes from the heart, and you can feel it. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I received that, and I pray that we may always move from the heart.
Indeed.
It is. There is a lot of wisdom there, and I pray that you may continue to offer wisdom, good guests, and inspiration and hope to your viewers, your listeners, in the work that you do, because this work is needed. We all have that opportunity. I have a podcast, as you know. I haven't gone live on it for a while, but it's there, Urban Spirituality, on iTunes and Spotify, and it's there. And I sometimes would go monologue and just share wisdom. And I didn't do it for monetary gain. I just did it because I thought, let me just create something that might help people in their lives. And here you are doing the same. So I thank you so much for doing what you're doing, and salute you with all gratitude. May it continue.
Thank you. Okay.
So, please stay on. We're going to just end this show, and then we go back to normal programming. I just want to talk to you privately off air, and because Andrena is part of this process as well. Hang on a second. Got comments just coming in just before we go. Hang on a second. Yeah. Okay. We'll end the stream. Thank you very, very much. And stay